All right, next up, we're going to go over to Katie. Katie, what is your question for Jeremy?
Hi, how are you?
I am great. Just hanging out. How are you, Katie? Where are you coming from? You're in
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, or south of Atlanta, actually.
I feel like you look familiar. Have I met you before?
I was about to mention I met you at the convention in Alabama this weekend.
That's what I thought. I was like, I swear this person, I know this person. I know his face.
How do you remember that? That's crazy. There were so many people.
I do have a good memory. I think less so with names. Names I probably forget immediately unless it's someone that I've seen like multiple times. But I have good, I think kind of, not a photographic memory, but I remember people's faces pretty well. So that's helpful for sure.
Awesome. Well, yeah, you were super great and super nice, and it made the whole trip worth it to go meet you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Oh my gosh. Sure. So I have a couple questions, if that's okay.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Shoot.
Okay. So my first one is, what has been one of the biggest growing experiences? Wow, I can't talk either. That you feel has shaped you into who you are today?
That is a great question. I think for me, overall, I've had I started acting when I was like 5 or 6, so I've had a pretty long arc of a career to this point. And you have a lot of ups and downs throughout that, for sure. There's times when you're not working on anything and you kind of second guess yourself, you get very self-conscious about things, and there's times when you're doing like a ton of stuff. And then back to like being kind of not busy for a while. And so because of that, I think that all of it is, you definitely get a huge dose of just patience. And for me, it's been helpful to, I'm very, very close to my family. And so my family's always kind of kept me very grounded throughout everything. And like my closest friends are people I've known for like years and years and years that I'm not friends with because of acting or anything that I have to do work-wise, just close friends that I've grown up with. So it's nice to kind of have those people that you are like accountable to and just close with, because regardless of what you're doing, you still have a relationship with those people. It's not like if I stop doing this, I'm not really gonna see this person anymore, So I think that has helped me kind of grow throughout everything, just having those mentors and friends there to encourage me. And I think for me, my faith is very important to me. And so it's kind of gives me the mindset of, throughout everything, ultimately, God is in control. And so, you go out, like, especially as an actor, you go out on like so many auditions and you get like maybe 1 in 100, and you have like, the ratio is not great. Let's be honest there. And so it kind of, anytime you don't get something, you're like, all right, well, that wasn't meant to happen. And there's a good reason I didn't get that. And then when you do get something, you're that much more excited by it. And you're like, okay, I'm here for a specific reason. And it always, it always just works out. There's times when you get bummed about things. I probably remember a lot of things like jobs that you wanted to get, because you're like, oh, that'd be so cool. And you don't get them. And you're kind of bummed about it. And then you look back a year, 2 years, however long later, and you're like, no, I'm glad I didn't get that, because either A, I wouldn't have handled it well at that point, or B, something else happened instead of that was really a lot better. And so I think that's probably what I've learned that's had the biggest impact on me, is just kind of learning to kind of roll with the punches and just know that ultimately, you only have a control over so much in your life. And so I just, the biggest thing is like, don't be anxious about everything and realize that everything happens kind of for a reason. So that's
awesome. Awesome. That actually kind of ties in well with my second question, which is you have Matthew 6:33 on your Instagram and Twitter bios. And I was wondering why.
Well, there you go. Short answer, the previous answer, I guess. But
is that like a life verse or like?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite verses, actually. So it's just kind of an encouraging one. So in Matthew 6:33 is seek first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Meaning, like, a lot of times when you're like trying to just selfishly going after something yourself and like trying to do everything in your power to like make something happen at times, A lot of times it just won't work, and you'll kind of fail at things, or you'll get more angry when something doesn't work. So it's kind of just like basically seek first God and just be basically 100%. Give 100% to everything, and it'll work itself out. Like everything will work together that needs to happen. And so don't essentially be stressed out and anxious about everything, because ultimately all these things will be added to you as long as you're seeking what is most important. So that's kind of what that, in a nutshell, that's what that verse means. You guys probably weren't expecting a little mini sermon here tonight, but there you go.
No, I love it. I love it so much. This is the best.
My side.
That's awesome.